I'm Nicholas Charlton at the University of Bristol, and I'm studying bumblebees. What I've got here is some bumblebees. We've got a live colony that in a box with a queen and workers, and they come through a tube into this box here, and this we call the flight arena. So they fly out of the colony and they come into here to actually feed. And at the moment they're feeding from artificial flowers, which are just made of coloured plastic discs with a small well in the middle filled with sugar solution. So they come in, they feed, and then they go back to the colony. So in the flight arena with the bumblebees, we can get them to feed from different things, and we get them to feed on a sugar solution, and we can put them into these artificial flowers. I know it doesn't look much like a flower, but the coloured discs represent the petals of the flower, and in the centre is a small well where we can put the sugar solution, which they learn to feed from quite quickly. There are also other ways to represent artificial flowers, different flower shapes, even paper flowers, and we can use these to ask questions about how bees choose which flowers to visit, what are the triggers that motivate them to visit. Perhaps maybe asking questions about the colours of the petals, or even the textures that are on the petals themselves, and different shapes, sizes, and also different materials. So one of the things I've been trying to do is to set up experiments in the lab with bees and artificial flowers to look at what drives their decisions on which flowers to visit. So in a natural environment, you have different flower species. Different species will have different amounts of nectar in them, and then it's the nectar that the bees want. And the more nectar that they get, the more energy they get, and the greater the success of the colony. And greater success means more bees. And interestingly, these bees can show behaviour where they bite into flowers that they wouldn't normally be able to reach the nectar from, because their tongues are too short and the flowers are too deep. So I'm going to try and set up an experiment where I put in paper tubes that represent deep flowers and see if I can get the bees to chew holes in them to get the nectar out. And then I can ask questions about how many flowers do I need in a flight arena like this for them to switch between sort of normal feeding to this nectar robbing behaviour where they chew holes in the flowers. I study bees because they're so important as effective pollinators of wildflowers and important crops as well. Bumblebees are in decline, and if we don't halt the decline of bumblebees, eventually we could have a catastrophe where we can't produce the crops that we want, or the cost of them becomes so high that people can't afford to buy them. We also may lose important plant wildflowers which rely on pollination by bees.